What's good, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy, Big Tank. Hey, coming at you with another Saturday live stream. We're in the AQUA shop and we're open for business. And I want to thank y'all for coming through. You know, this Saturday stream is relatively new. We're trying to get something, serious going on here. The AQUA shop, is a place where I'd like to reach out to people outside of the YouTube platform, but yet still in the hobby and are very important and integral in the hobby. And I think we've been doing pretty good. We've been doing pretty good in that. Our ghost today is Alex Brown. He is the president of GHAC, Greater Houston Aquatic Club. It's on Facebook. And me being in Houston, we don't have many clubs or anything like that where we can all get together. Right now it's virtual, but they've done some things in the past that they were actually on site and physical, and I hope that they'll be able to get back to doing something like that. Let me see who we got in the chat. Trevor Gregory, Alan Matthews, Melvin Reeves. What's good, Melvin? Jeffrey Watts. Look out, Jay. Look out. Tank Top Tropics. Still in you is in the house. Wang JT Gomez. Hello, ma'am. Hello. How you doing? Hey, y'all share this out. Let everybody know that we're doing this thing over here. All right, so I'm gonna bring my guest up, give him an introduction, and let him tell him a little bit about yourself, about himself rather. My fault. Uh-oh. Malfunction.
I'm still here.
There we go.
There we go.
Alex Brown, what's good, sir? How you feeling today?
I'm doing excellent, man. Thank you.
Amen, 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 amen. I want to get you now. I'm very excited, man, about having you on here, man. I just broke down to him exactly what the AQUA shop is. AQUA shop is about, and I'm right here in the Houston area, and I thought if there's anybody who I think would be real good, it would be you. So let everybody know a little bit about yourself. Give them a little old brief rundown of who you are, and what do you do in the hobby.
Okay. My name's Alex Brown, president of the Greater Houston Aquarium Club for the last almost 2 years now. And started off in the hobby when I was probably in middle school, and started off with some of the cardinal sins of fish keeping. I had goldfish in a fish bowl and had beta in with other fish, and made some mistakes, like I think probably everybody did at some point or another, and just got interested in the fish and kept more fish and bigger fish, and went on into high school and saved my money and ended up getting a 55-gallon was the biggest fish tank I'd ever had at that point in time. And I think I had a tiger shovel-nosed catfish in there and an arowana, which of course, again, bad news in a 75-gallon tank. I would talk down to anybody who tried to do that today, but didn't know that back then, and we didn't have the internet as much, didn't have as much information available back then as we do now. But yeah, father of two, got a couple of great kids. My daughter actually is graduating from Sam Houston State University this week, so that's awesome.
Okay.
Yep. And my son, he just started college this year too, so got a couple of great kids, and just loving life, man. I born and raised in Texas and lived here almost my entire life. I did a stint in Minnesota. Met a girl, moved up to Minnesota for a while, lived up there, and I didn't work out, which was fine because I'm a Texas boy through and through, and ended up coming back down here and restarted my life down here, and been loving life ever since too. So ended up finding the Greater Houston Aquarium Club when I first got back down here, and as it is when you start off in a new group, you just kind of sit back and watch and learn the people and meet new people, and next thing you know, I started having meetings to go to, and before I knew it, they were asking me to be an admin, and now here I am, the president. So I guess they like me.
Okay. Good deal. I would say so. I would say so too. So as far as what kind of things community wise are you guys into?
So we try and stick with just aquariums and fish keeping. We do slightly branch into, like, things that are, there's that gray area between what's an aquarium and what's not. So, like, paludariums is still considered an aquarium in a way. So we appreciate people showing off their paludariums and bringing those into the fold. But things like, terrariums and vivariums for reptiles and things like that, we try and, keep those separate, because there's other groups for that kind of stuff. This is primarily an aquarium group. So we're interested mostly in just aquatics. So saltwater, freshwater, paludariums, brackish water. If you have anything that's an aquatic related, hobby related thing that you like to do, then the Greater Houston Aquarium Club is for you. So yeah, so we, really just, we love our fishes. We love our fishes and our invertebrates and, everything else that goes along with that. Okay. So we try and kind of keep things on the informative side. I mean, we have a great group of admins, and a lot of those, plus a lot of our members, are very active, posting informational posts. And of course, everybody's always got questions. And one of the things that we're most proud of is that our group is very good about actually giving good answers, even to new people. You get a lot of these groups that are huge, and somebody will ask a question like, I don't know, how do I check my water parameters? And you see in the background they've got a 200-gallon tank already set up, and so you get people that'll just jump down their throats and bash on them for jumping in feet first. And instead of trying to help them, they're rude about it, and we don't tolerate that. This is a group for learning, so everybody is welcome to come in and learn, and we want to help you learn, and we want to help you be successful, and everybody enjoys it more that way. So if anybody y'all want to come in here with any hoopla, don't do it.
Right.
We'll kick you out.
Right. I've had a little experience in that. I was I want to say it was a killifish. It was a killifish group. I mean, it's a killifish group.
Yeah.
I'm interested in killifish. So
right.
I ask a question. A guy tells me, well, sir, maybe you should have researched before.
Yeah, that's one of my least favorite answers to a question. Somebody asks a question, and someone's like, "Don't you know how to use Google?" Well, yeah, but that's not what it's about, man.
Right. I'm here now.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to be a part of the family. Hey, why don't you are doing it? So, hey, let me know what's going on.
Exactly.
And I told him, I said, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, but I thought, since you were such a, experienced keeper, that it would be, behoove you to help someone such as a novice such as myself to become the best, killifish keeper that I can be. But I mean, if that's not what this group is about, and then everybody went in on him, and then got off and
good. He sounded like he deserved it.
Yeah, it makes no sense, man. But I'm glad, man. I'm glad that your group like it, and that's important, man. That is important today, because there's so many self-righteous. I mean, it's crazy. I don't understand it. If there's anything fish keeping, I mean, we talk all the time on how important keeping these fish is for mental health, bringing people together. I mean, helping people with neurological diseases, helping them to focus and to relax. It is too important to ever think that we're better than the hobby or anybody else that's in it, because you didn't create it. You didn't start it.
Right.
You're just one of the pieces of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a shame sometimes too, because some of the people that act like that actually have a lot of knowledge. I mean, there's a few people in our group that are a little grouchy sometimes, but they've been in the hobby for 50 plus years, and they've got an amazing amount of history and knowledge stored in their brains, and sometimes it's tough to get it out of them, but they've got that, and as long as we can have them adding to the group and not subtracting from it, I love having them there.
Right. And I mean, it is okay. You have some people you can understand. You can kind of sometimes tell if you've been around them long enough, especially, not even necessarily seeing them, but just how they, respond in chats or whatever. You kind of get a feel. You get a feel of the person. You may try to make a certain connection. You kind of know that person. as opposed to
Absolutely.
being somebody who's just, he's just wilding out and he's a,
Yep.
he needs to catch the back door type of person.
Right.
But yeah, that's cool though. That's cool, man. That the group is like that. Um, are y'all planning? I mean, I know it's kind of ahead of the game, but are y'all planning anything um in person in
Yeah.
hopes of?
Yeah. We've actually been having a lot of conversations about that lately among the admins, and it's we thought we were ready back in I think it was November, when things were starting to settle down a little bit. And we thought, okay, you know what, maybe the COVID related stuff has got to a point where we can actually have some in-person meetings again. So we tried to have one. We had it outdoors. We went to that aquarium place, which is one of our sponsor stores, and we had the meeting outdoors, and we want to make sure it was safe. So there's plenty of room for everybody. And of course, masks were required and all that, but people weren't really ready for it yet. We didn't have much activity on that. And then of course that was right also before things got worse again really quickly. So we've been discussing it. We were talking about having our next event is probably going to be something that we've done every year, which is a collection trip. So once a year, we like to get the group together, whoever wants to show up, and we pick a spot. Last time we did it, it was at an actual wildlife park, and they had a display center, which was nice, where they had like a huge, I think it was a 1,200 gallon fish tank full of all kinds of, sunfish and bass and everything else. And they had this great big pond there, and we had probably 30, 40, 50 members there, and everybody was just out fishing with poles and nets and, catching all kinds of stuff, turtles and whatever else. And so it's a cool idea because you can actually get people into the natives too. It's not just about that pretty red cardinal tetra that you see at the fish store. We want to try and get people out there so they can understand some of the ecology and the importance of not flushing your goldfish down the toilet or throwing it in the creek. And there was a lot of invasives in that pond too. I mean, I think I probably caught more tilapia out of that pond than anything else, to be honest. But so yeah, we try to do a collection trip once a year. With the year before that, we actually did it down in Galveston at the state park. So we hit both sides. We hit the beach for part of the day, and then we moved over to the bay side for the other part of the day, and we caught some really cool stuff. You mentioned killifish. I was after a diamondback killifish there. Never did catch one, but I caught a bunch of other cool stuff. But yeah, so we're thinking about starting up with the live meetings again here pretty soon. And I think the first one we want to try and do is a collection trip, because that still allows everybody to be outdoors and spread out, and just kind of gauge the reaction. I mean, the group is for the members. It's not for us. It's not for the admins. And so, we want to be cognizant of what our membership wants. And if the membership wants to keep doing the live stream meetings, then we'll keep doing that. But we all miss the in-person meetings. I mean, it's something different when you get to be there with, 20, 30, 40 people. We usually have them at one of our sponsor stores, and they're always educational, and we pick a subject matter and we discuss the subject matter with everybody there. Sometimes it'll be one of the admins doing the discussion. Sometimes it'll be, we have a guest speaker, for example. So we would definitely miss that. And there's something about getting, out of the darkness as a nerd in the hobby and getting to meet with other people that feel and talk about the same stuff. It's really nice to be able to interact with each other for real. So I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Most definitely. Dedican Aquatics, what's going on, sir? Welcome, man. Hey, you guys, Texas Fish Room is almost at 1,000 subs.
Nice.
Y'all go over there and visit Texas Fish Room. Sub if you haven't subbed. Tell your friends about Texas Fish Room. Mr. Wilson has been on my show on Friday nights. Go through and check on my replays and see the show we did with Texas Fish Room. He's almost at 1,000 subs. Let's get him there. Griffin Fish Room, welcome in, welcome in. See y'all coming in the door. Welcome, welcome. So, were you guys a part of the? I know there was a better show, right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
I know 360 Aquatics sponsored that. You guys were a part of that also, right?
Yeah, so actually that was put on by one of our members, Julie, and she's awesome. And
McKee?
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah,
Julie
I'm
McKee.
trying to get her on Saturday.
She'd be a great one to have on, man. She's amazing. She just one day decided she wanted to start trying to breed betas, and the next thing you know, she is just killing it, man. And yeah, so she, you know, there used to be a chapter of the International Beta Society here in Houston, and I guess it just fizzled out or whatever, and she's getting it going again. So yeah, so it was her idea to get a beta show going. That was one of our meetings actually that we had a while back, last year or year before last, I think it was, and we had that meeting out there at AQUA Aquarium, and it was a beta show. And so we had our members, you know, bring in their betas for the show, and it was kind of a fun little thing. It wasn't a certified show or anything like that. It was just more for fun and just for something for the club members to get into. And I think that was when she started, and she was like, you know what, I want to do this. And so she started getting in with the IBC and started bringing in her new betas and started breeding them. And she's trying to get chapter of Houston going again, and she's been doing it. And of course, COVID kind of hurt that effort because it was right when she was getting going, you know. But they're figuring out a ways around it. They're doing virtual shows and stuff, and instead of having people bring their betas to the show, they're actually mailing them to the show, and then somebody there at the show sets them up and does all the judging, and then they mail them back if they need to, or mail them to whoever buys them or whatever. But yeah, so I'm happy to see how successful she's been at that in spite of all the stuff we've had to go through the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, she was one of my inspirations. You know, in Messenger, you know, we'd always go back and forth, back and forth. I actually have, let me see if I can show him to you. That guy right there.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
That's Demon Boy. Now, I bred him, got a few offspring. He won best in show YouTube and a Bantoid project.
Nice. Congratulations, man.
But yeah, I mean, I'm about the betas. I've kind of moved over to wild betas right now.
Yeah,
that's my passion. I got a whole tank full of fry wheel next to me. I've been posting all everywhere like a crazy man. But yeah,
is it the Embellus? Is that what you have?
Chinoides.
Chinoides. Okay. Those are awesome.
The snakehead beta. Yeah.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
I've really gotten into the wild betas too. I mean, I've had a couple of ornamental betas here lately, but because the last wild one that I had decided to jump out, I'm anti tops on my aquariums, which is, you know, nice for the look, but it's bad for the fish that like to jump.
I spoke about that last night. That I don't have tops, but that kind of taught me. I still don't really, but it taught me a lesson just to get away from, you know, the fish that's gonna do a lot of jumping out. My hornwort, I let my hornwort take over the tops of a lot of my tanks right now, and that's what I'm using as a top at this point, because I let it get real thick.
Yeah, something I think that I've figured out, and maybe it's just me projecting what I want to happen, but it seems to me that if you have a floating plant at the top of the water so they can know where the water top is, they tend to stay in the tank. They don't jump nearly as badly if you have something there. But if you have no floating plants, they're going to jump out. That's just going to happen.
Yeah, I had, speaking of that, Trevor Gregory, I bought a embellis male at $360. I mean, I paid for it. You know, he wasn't like, you know, I had 3.5 inches, you know, down from the top of my tank of water. I had a glass lid. Let's see if it's here. The kind with, you know, the fold glass lid.
Oh yeah.
But there was a gap like this.
You found the hole, didn't he?
Mind you, 3 inches down from the top.
Well, they can jump, man. Those things have got some power.
Man. He got off work, came in. Oh, it hurt. He was. Oh man, yeah.
And then you're like, how long has he been out? Can I save him? Is he dried up yet?
I've let some golden wonder killifish come back like that.
Oh yeah.
My embellis, he had been out there just a little too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had hit crispy, you know.
That's happened the last. I had the last wild one I had was an alien, so it wasn't a true wild, but the hybrid wild beta, and same thing happened to him. He jumped out, and I found him the next day. I'm pretty sure because he was dried out.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Those those lessons in the
Hmm.
oh. But man. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad
People
to
ask
hear.
me all the time. My friends, they're like, "Don't you get sad when your fish die?" I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes, but." Sometimes they only live for a year or two anyway on their natural lifespan. And if you've been keeping fish for, 30, 40 years, you kind of get used to it a little bit. I hate to say that, but you're going to have some fish deaths. It's inevitable. So it's not as bad as it used to be, but there's definitely some fish that get onto your heartstrings though. When those guys pass, it sucks.
Right. Jeffrey Watts says, well, I live in Houston, so all my tanks have tops because of the humidity. Well, see,
Yeah.
Jeffrey, I'm cheating. I'm cheating. As long as I don't have a top, all I have to do is top off.
So I do have my fish room, and all the tanks in my fish room do have tops on them. So, and that's for the humidity, because you get enough tanks in one room, and that humidity is no joke, especially in Houston.
Right. I've been doing pretty good in this little room here. I would have thought. Here I go again. I told you about the ADHD. Y'all got me looking up. No mold, anything trying to even set up. I've been pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good circulation in here. But I did pretty good in this here room. But yeah, I'm glad because I'm trying to stay on track. I'll get off there. I'm glad that we're trying to get back to some physical meetups in person because I want to be at some of these meetups.
Yeah.
I have to be. And I see
I'm looking forward to it.
Patrick Hardy's name over here. We had an impromptu meetup of our own a couple of weeks ago where we swapped some fish in a in a McDonald's parking lot, just him and I.
I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah, I made a video. I was like, "Hey, man, let's do it." I ain't tripping. But yeah, I think we trying to set the precedence. Down here in the Houston area.
That's something else I miss about it too. I mean, because back when we were having live meetings, I mean, that was a place where people could swap plants and fish and whatever, and get all that stuff done in a nice neutral location. So that, I'm missing that too.
Right, man. So what do you think? There's one thing that I want to see. First, I'm gonna mention the Texas Fish Keepers Group.
Mm-hmm.
We're both a part of the Texas Fish Keepers Group. Have you ever thought of maybe like a collaborative sometimes deal? The situation with me is they're more active, seem like in the Austin-ish area.
Yeah.
And they have things going on over there. I think that's would be very beneficial to
Sure.
our Houston people. But we don't really have anybody, that's like representing per se. They're doing some good things, but we don't have anybody that's like representing.
You mean like representing Houston?
Well, yeah, like the finding of let's say livestock per se, when people are, like, hey, well, what shop has this or what shop has that, or we may want something here we're looking for that a particular store may not have. And
sure.
They're like moving stuff around, on that end. And we're just like over here, like, hey, I would like something over here,
I think there's more going on than you think there is, man. I mean, we've got, and also you said they mentioned the TFK is a lot of around the Austin area. There's a Greater Austin Aquarium Society there too. And honestly, we were actually going to collaborate with the GAAS right before COVID happened, and that just killed everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we've got the Greater Houston Aquarium Club around here. You've got the Houston Fish Box is actually still, it's a website that most people don't go to websites anymore and forums, but it's still active. There's a lot going on through that. And of course, we have all of our sponsor stores. So if anybody's in like the Greater Houston Aquarium Club Facebook group, all the sponsor stores that we have, and there's like 10 of them, they're constantly posting what new fish they're bringing in and what things they have available for everybody. Tell you one thing that has hurt the hobby, at least in the Houston area for sure, is Facebook. Facebook started cracking down really hard on livestock. You're not allowed to sell or trade livestock on Facebook. we actually had the Greater Houston Aquarium Club had a marketplace group for a long time, and it was great.
Okay.
So we could keep the sale stuff away from the main group, because we didn't want the main group to turn into a garage sale, because that's what happens if you allow it, you know.
Yeah.
So we had the marketplace group instead, and you know, we would, whenever somebody would ask a question, is, hey, does any members have a killifish or whatever, we could send them to the marketplace group where they could have that discussion over there without any problems. Well, Facebook shut down our marketplace group. You know, I don't know if somebody reported it or what, but Facebook got wind of the fact that, you know, we were allowing livestock sales and everything else, and they shut it down hard. No way to get it back. So at that point, we decided, you know what, we cannot allow sales in the main group anymore. If anybody brings up even thinking about selling a fish to another member in our group, we shut them down quick, because we don't want them shutting down our main group. We've got 5,000 members in that group.
That makes sense. I mean,
so we got to protect it.
I'm not understanding. I mean, okay, Facebook is Facebook. Facebook is not, it's not the fish hobbyist Facebook. So I can kind of understand them not knowing, you know, not seeing what things are important, not even the sales aspect. Now you're gonna always have those hard head rebel people who you're like, you know, like, dude, why you know, we can't, you know, you always have those people. But as a whole, I mean, you have people who, I mean, hey, I'm looking for some Antuta wild meadows, and somebody across town has some Antuta. We're not even mentioning price or anything, but I mean, you can't even do that. You know, that's
you can't do it. I mean, there was a lot of groups. They've seemed to have lightened up a bit in the last maybe year, but there are a lot of groups getting shut down. There's a lot of reef groups that got shut down at the same time that ours did. They went nuts. They went bananas, man. So yeah, so there's a couple of new groups that have popped up that have kind of figured out some ways to skirt the rules a little bit. They, like you said, make sure you use Latin terms and don't mention price in the post or whatever, and you can discuss that stuff in the comments. But you know, there's some ways around it, but it's a little scary to try and allow that in our main group, because we don't want to shut down. So, but yeah, I would love to get some live action going again, so we don't have to worry about that mess. Did you lose your audio? Worry about that mess.
I was having sound issues. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
See, I can't. I have a delay down here, but I can't hear up there. It's gonna come back in here pretty soon. But I had an alarm that went off, and it kind of messed everything up on me. Let me see.
Yeah, I can hear myself in your delay.
If I can do this, I know a trick.
I get some feedback going.
All right. Any feedback now?
Nope, that's better there. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to look. Oh man, I hate it when that happens. All right, but you know, you can tell I have some experience in it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Now I just missed everything you said.
Oh. Well, I can't repeat it now. Everybody else heard it.
I'm not sure, but I missed all of it.
We were just talking about how it's hard to get, you know, that live action trading stuff going with Facebook, but hopefully we get those live meetings going again soon, and we can start doing some trading and whatnot. I tell you what, I would really like to get some Houston-based, like, maybe not auctions. I mean, an auction would be cool too, but like a trade, like a what's the word I'm looking for? You know, where everybody gets together and they can just trade fish and plants and all that kind of stuff.
Like, you know? The
swap. Yeah, exactly. I would love to get like a live swap going again. And I mean, hopefully we're getting close enough. Everybody's getting vaccinated now, and you know, the rules are getting a little more relaxed, and hopefully we can get a swap going here sometime if not the end of this year, then early next year for sure. I want to do it. That's one of the things I've been wanting to do since I got in the club, actually. So, and surprisingly, it's harder to arrange that for a club than I thought it was going to be.
I think I'm back.
Yep, they're back. There you go. Back to live action.
No. Oh.
You got some echo going now.
There we go. I'm just gonna stay here the rest of the time.
All right, whatever works for you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here. This is going too good for technical difficulties to mess up everything.
We should have known there was gonna be a problem when we got it started so easy, right?
Right. All right, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I've been watching. Actually, today, there's a group of YouTubers in the Tennessee area. They have what they call a Tennessee Fish Mafia, and they had like a meetup and swap today at a popular fish store that they have down there. I mean, they had a pretty good turnout. I mean, you know, you get jealous, you know, to be looking at them out there. Oh man, there's tables. I mean, I swear there had to be 20 or more people vending. You know, they was having a tour of the actual store. I mean, you know, to see stuff like that, man, it's like, oh man, you know.
Yeah. The hard part I found is actually getting a venue to do it at, because, you know, if you go to, as a club anyway, you know, if you go to one, you can't go to a sponsor store, because in the other sponsor stores, they're getting gypped out of, you know, that publicity, you know, so they all want that, but we can't do it at every single one of them all the time. And then trying to find a place that's not a store is harder, because they all want a lot of money. And, you know, this is, you know, it's a nonprofit organization. We don't have a whole bunch of money to just throw at the Hilton to get one going, you know? So it's harder to do than I thought it was going to be, but we're definitely going to get one going at some point. I really want to do that.
Yeah, man, it would be beautiful. There's Patty right there. Hello, Patty. Who I was telling you about earlier. Patty, you're gonna be a star here pretty soon. Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Yeah. So, on your end, have you ever thought about having a store, whether it be online, physical store, getting that deep into the fish?
No, I haven't thought about that actually. I mean, I don't know that I would, honestly. It's the club is about sharing information, you know, and sharing passion for the hobby. It's not about trying to make money. It's not what we're here for. There's lots of stores in Houston that sell stuff, and I don't see any reason for us to add another one to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's part of why I'm trying to do this Saturday stream, because being in the fish fam on YouTube, that's like part of what it's all about, in a sense. I mean, there's a lot of people in the hobby, but the majority of people, they want to breed, you know, they want to sell, they want to put this out there in the hobby, keep these things going in the hobby, you know, certain fish that you hadn't seen in a long time, or you know, things that are overpriced in the hobby that they want to make available, you know, to
beta macrostoma.
Oh man, hey, I found somebody with some hard water ready macrostoma.
I think I know who you're talking about. Is it somebody that I mentioned to you the other day in our little message?
Let me see. Did you mention him to me? I know.
Well, it's a she, so probably not.
No. Okay. No. Well, I might need that name too, cause look.
I don't want to give it away online, but anybody else who's from the club knows who I'm talking about, though.
It could be in message. It could be in messages. It's because that's one of my holy grail. My holy grail fish. I want.
Me too.
I want Antuta, macrostoma. I have, you know, the Chinoides. I don't need to go too far, you know, out. Even though you can have them in a collection setting, and not like the splendors that you have to do to separate, and they take over your whole fish room,
Right.
your house, you know,
Yeah.
everywhere. But
Yep.
I still don't need to, you know, beat myself up with that multi-tank addiction thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's the MTS is real, man.
either way, all you have to do is have a slight interest, man, and you'll find a reason.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I've got a tank right
reason.
now sitting there that's empty, and it's got a bunch of wood in it, and you know, I'm every day I look at that tank and I'm like, man, that would look really good with some macrostoma in there.
Man,
they're expensive though.
I'm trying to tell you. Now, I'm gonna throw this price out there. If I'm not mistaken, there was like, hey, you get them small, but it's like a 10 piece for like $150.
That's a good price. That's a real good price.
They're little, and they're already
juveniles.
Hard water broke. I mean, they have to be shipped in, you know, from over the pond there.
Yeah. Well, the person I know that has successfully bred them in hard water is in northern, like north of Houston, not in the city limits, but not too far from here. So.
Okay, Jess, do I sound better now?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, let me see it. Can I flip it upside down? How would that look? I would sound better, but then I would. Okay, I'll just do it like that. All right, how does it sound in that case?
Sounds all right. Just had to turn it up a bit.
The angle is all thrown off. No. Yeah, Poe, I don't know what's going on. Everything's trying to act a fool on me. Because my mic should be queued back up on the other phone, but I don't know if I want to try that. Hold on, let me see. Oh my goodness. This is real life, y'all.
Yep. The downside of doing live stream is everything happens when you're doing live stream.
Yeah, this is real. This is real life here. Figure it out as you go. Don't panic.
Is your phone your backup camera a phone or what?
No, my backup camera is a tablet. I wish the backup was the phone.
Oh man.
It would be easier.
Can you plug your mic into your tablet?
No, because my tablet is outdated, and these are wireless.
Oh, damn.
Beats by Dre that my daughter got me for Christmas. Thanks, baby. Hey, y'all just have to look at me with this angle here. But what would you say for you? Two questions in a sense, 2 in 1.
Okay.
What have you seen been the biggest change, barring COVID, the biggest change in the hobby, positive or negative, and what would you like to see change?
That's a good question. I feel like, I mean, this is obviously it's an opinionated answer because, I see what I see and I have my passions in certain areas other people wouldn't. So for example, I don't really get into saltwater too much. So I feel like the biggest change in the hobby, in my opinion, in the last few years has probably been the trend of either biotope tanks or blackwater tanks coming into the mix. Back when I started, nobody had ever heard of a blackwater tank. And if you had water that was stained like tea, you had a dirty tank and you needed to clean it up, So, but now these days, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, every time I see somebody with a beautiful tank, even if it's just a pretty planted tank with clear water, there's a pretty good chance there's going to be some dead leaves in the bottom, something like that. So I feel like the hobby has started to be way more accepting of a more natural look and a more natural way of keeping fish. Like with the beta keepers, I'm sure you probably got a stack of catappa leaves in your in your house somewhere, don't you? Exactly. So I feel like that's probably one of the biggest changes recently is just the acceptance of more natural conditions for fish, which is awesome, I think, because, you know, to feel like it's more about the fish than it should be about us. So
that and magnolia leaves.
oh yeah.
And I have
I
my go ahead.
Oh, I was actually for a while there, I was supplying magnolia leaves to Tannin Aquatics.
Okay.
I had a nice
Okay.
source for him, but I ended up losing my source, and he had too many to sell at the time, so we stopped doing that.
The bad thing for me is, you know, I said I'm moving in a week. I have a big magnolia tree in my yard
Oh man.
that I would no longer have.
Yeah, that sucks.
Man, you know.
Well, I'm gonna try and plant one. I have so the house that I grew up in, it's near the Heights in Houston, and my grandparents actually built that house, and there was a magnolia tree in the backyard, and I remember, you know, growing up and always climbing those branches and everything else. Well, I went back there about 3 years ago, and the house had been sold several times since I was there, and the house was leveled. House was gone, the lot was wide open, but the magnolia tree was still there. So I went ahead and got in there, and I got some magnolia tree seed pods from that same tree that I, you know, grew up climbing, that my grandparents planted. And so I'm going to try and get that sucker going, grow my own magnolia tree out here. If I'm successful, I'll send you a package of them.
Hey, I don't know what to do, because I was boiling leaves, putting tea in jars in the refrigerator, keeping
Yeah.
my leaves in the bag behind the door. I'm ready for whatever, you know. That's not gonna be my reality anymore, man.
Well, they last a while. Just, you know, don't use so many at a time for a while. Just keep what you got for a while. You'll be good for a year or two.
Right? Hey. So that second part, what is it that you would like to see?
What would I like to see?
And again, that's gonna be a personalized, heavy-sided answer.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I can answer that question, because I'm more of a go with the flow kind of person. And, you know, anything that I would like to see would be things that I would like to do personally, like keep fish I haven't kept before, or tank styles that I haven't kept before. But on the hobby as a whole, oh, you know what? I do have one. I have one. I would like to see the aquatic plant competitions go back to more natural style tanks. I'm not really a fan of these diorama, you know, fantasy land style planted tanks that people are doing. It's like, I don't know. I mean, they're cool. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful and I love them, but it's not a fish tank. It's not an aquarium to me, you know?
You don't like the Hobbit hole?
I love it. I think it's awesome, but I don't think it should be something we should be competing for, you know? Have you ever seen I think it's Diego Sandoval, I think is his name, and he makes those the teeny tiny miniature scaped layout tanks. They're made in resin. They're that small. They're like that big, and they look, I mean, if you zoom in on them, they look like a big fish tank. But
okay,
that's the thing, is that they're made out of like resin and little laminate pieces of fish and moss and stuff in there.
I have seen those.
Yeah, I mean, when you're zoomed in on them, they look huge. You can't tell it's not a big tank. So that's no different to me than doing a diorama style fish tank with all this fantasy stuff. It's not real, you know?
Right.
So I guess I would like to see that the biotope scene would be given more weight in the aquascaping arena. That's what I would like to see.
I got you. Yeah, I got a tank over here. Well, a few tanks that I know give one of my buddies fits on here, Jeffrey Watts. My hair algae and all of that, you know, it's going hard, especially in my betta fry tank. I mean, it's natural, you know.
Yeah.
Tea stain, hair algae, but my fish, you know, they love it. They
love it.
Babies. They shooting babies at you everywhere, you know. And the fry, if you don't want to feed them, you wouldn't have to.
Yeah, they'll find something in there. Absolutely.
I supplement, but I mean, you really wouldn't have to, because if I sit here long enough and get close enough, You see little,
Little babies
I'll
running around.
I'll make infusoria, and like I have my leaves in there. I may have my own bowl that I done made some infusoria, and I get a little syringe, and I'll shoot them in, target shoot them around, where I have a little pile of leaves.
Yeah.
And they'll just take off in my tank.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a the one thing that survived the freeze is in my fish room. I had a rack of tanks that I'd set up, and it was just a tester because I had planned on doing a whole wall of racks, but I wanted to get everything right first, make sure it could almost self-sustain. So it's plumbed in. The house that I'm in has a well. I don't have city water, so I have it plumbed into the well. So it has a drip. So it drips a half gallon per hour constantly, 24 hours a day. And then it overflows down into a pipe that I have plumbed going out of the fish room out to the garden. So it's constantly doing a water change for me, right? So that's, I had 2 tanks on top, and then at the bottom I had a sump filter, but it's also kind of a tank, and it was supposed to be a plant farm. That was my original plan, was I was going to have a refugium, on this filter tank on the bottom and have it be a plant farm. Well, all the little babies from the tank above it started falling down the filter to that bottom tank. And so it became a nursery instead. So I just let the plants go crazy, and it's just full of moss now. And there's so many baby endlers in there now. It's crazy. And I don't even feed them. They just eat all the infusoria that's down there in that thing.
It would definitely work. That's one of those things where somebody has set a tank with this much water in it. They just left the tank, and they come back in a month. It's like, man, I just forgot the tank. I didn't drain it all the way out, man. I found 5 or 6 guppies, pretty good size.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Super healthy.
Doing this natural thing,
Yeah. Yeah. Life will find a way, right?
Definitely. Oh, and we were speaking on the contest for the planted tanks and the dioramas. I want to say it was a 20-gallon long, maybe. They made like a city street, like a curve, with the drainage. There was a drainage pipe where the water was coming out, going down into like the culvert,
Oh wow.
What do you call it? The one that the clown is down in.
Yeah. The culvert, yeah.
They made it with the water's coming down, and there was some litter, there was grass, and they had it up close, so you thought it was real. Then they back away. It was a fish tank.
Oh wow, that's cool.
It was in competition. There was no way you could put any fish in it because it didn't hold water like that. But they entered it into that particular competition. I don't know if they won or not, but
yeah, there's something for everybody, I guess,
Right. Patrick Hardy says, what type of endlers you have?
So I had black bar endlers at first, but I found some endlers that I don't know what they're called. I want to say they were like maybe Blue Star. I think they had bright sky blue trailers, like a top and bottom trailer on the anal fin, and they were really pretty. And somehow I had them get mixed together, and so they interbred. And then somebody at that point, I had, I didn't have any purebred endlers anymore. I was just getting weird colors, and so I couldn't sell them because they weren't purebred or anything like that. And then I had we do a lot of rescues with GHAC. A lot of people sometimes will want to get out of the hobby, and so they'll call us, and so we'll have some of our members team up and go grab a tank or whatever from them, and then sometimes we'll raffle it off or something like that. Anyway, so the fish that are in the tank, we have to disperse those among the people who come for the rescue too. And so I ended up with a bunch of endler guppy hybrids also. And so I just threw those in the same tank, and now it's just a mishmash. Some of them look like endlers, some of them look like guppies. I have one really cool endler that came out of that mix, and it's almost solid red with like a black dot right in the middle of the body and a couple of streamers that are orange on the anal fin. And so I took him out, and I took out one of the females, and I put them in a tank by themselves. And I'm going to see if I can't try and get that line to propagate and get, I don't even know. It's something I've never seen before. So if I can make it work, then, I'll name it something cool.
Hey, I got something over here called a turbo inlet that I'm working on. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean?
What's it look like?
Well, I actually have videos on turbo windows, but let me see if I can. Because you know I'm having technical difficulties. Oh man. Well, it started out okay. Let's say you got you know, you have your platinum red tail Dumbo
Yeah.
guppy.
Yeah.
Well, you have a slight platinum still in the front end,
Okay.
but just along the top line, there's a black line, still Dumbo. There's a black line, almost
Okay.
total red body. Tail
Mm.
turns into a mosaic, but it's like
Oh,
almost like a flamish, you know.
so like a cacatoides style, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
with a long flowing dorsal fin, you know, going all the way probably the total length of
Oh wow,
the body towards the end of the tail.
that sounds awesome.
And I'm pretty sure because I mean it started out with me going to a different LFS than what I normally go to, thinking that I got this great deal on some platinum red tail Dumbo here guppies until the fry started, you know, coming out.
Oh, they had a mixed, huh?
Oh man, you know, it's like the the first set of fry.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
I
like
have.
okay, let me mess them up. No, males,
Right.
females, perfect. Oh, they're perfect. And the first set of fry.
Oh man, bad genes. Bad genes.
Oh man,
I hate
cubs.
that. It happens with shrimp too. You get a nice set of like tangerine neocardina shrimp, and next thing you know, you've got like some yellow ones and some brown ones, and you're like, where did those come from?
Where did they come from?
Man,
I
I was
mean,
working on a shrimp one time. I made a Skittles tank. You probably heard that term, right? For the shrimp, where you just mix all the colors together. So I had a Skittles tank just because it was just a temporary tank. I was just messing around, and I had two shrimp come out of that tank where they had I think it's called the rostrum, right? The little the horn part they
the
have on the
horn that
front.
sticks out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the front of the head was red, and then it was like a oh man, I can't remember what they call them, but you have the shrimp that have like orange and then clear and then orange. There's a term for that kind of shrimp, but mine was red, clear, and blue tail. So I had a red, white, and blue shrimp, and I had two of them. And I was like, man, if I could make that stable, can you imagine how many of those I could sell?
Ah,
I never
yes.
got any more though. Never could make any more of them.
Oh my goodness, man. I couldn't even. You would have to
America shrimp.
get you like some red, really.
Really, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like a red really, but the tail was blue.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been. I mean, you could trademark. It would have been over.
Oh yeah. USA, USA.
Hey, trademark that. It would have been over. You took over the shrimp game.
Right.
Till you
Until
get those
somebody else
people.
got a hold of.
Yeah, you get those people that want to change the name or something that's already established.
Yeah. I'm sure it'd end up in Korea, and they would breed 1,000,000 of them.
And that's crazy that the hobby. This seems like the only thing that I've seen where there's something that's established. We all recognize this by this name. I get it. I wait a minute. Hey, I'm gonna put my own name on it and put it back out, set my own price, and people will buy it like under that name, and you acting like it's totally brand new. And people
Yeah.
they know it's the same as this.
Well, I mean, it's like what is it? The mustard gas beta. Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah.
And you know, now Petco sells them as a paradise beta. I mean, that guy that invented the mustard gas beta is getting screwed over, you know, by the corporate pet industry. So, but it
Paradise.
happens. Can't have nice things these days.
Oh man. Yeah, I've seen Petco do that with quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
With quite a few betters. I have seen that. I have seen that. I had a what was it, a double. I had a double black male, placat, and it was like not midnight. They had some other name. Starry Midnight. I mean, they had a. It was.
They made something up, yeah.
Yeah, they had made something up. Oh man, and something else that they do to people. So you done started something now. Because a buddy of mine, bro, you know, they'll have it labeled as baby boy.
Oh
baby
yeah.
girl. I mean, that is.
And half the time they're wrong.
Yeah. That is.
They don't know.
You don't have a clue.
No, they don't know.
You don't have a clue. And my buddy, he made a whole YouTube video about his female placat beta.
Oh yeah.
Whole video. So I'm watching the video. I mean, he's new. He's new to YouTube also.
Okay.
I'm watching the video. I'm like, so I go to Messenger. Hey, bro, that's a male.
That's a boy.
Yeah, that's a male. Man, I was wondering why, you know, she was so pretty, because the males are the prettiest, you know. Any exaggeration in the form, you pretty much guaranteed that's a male.
Yeah.
Oh man, but they had it labeled as, yes, I know.
There's some pretty female betas now though too. I mean, we were talking about Julie earlier, man. Some of the girls she's got are gorgeous. And then you know, Space City Fish and Coral, they're one of our sponsor stores, and they bring in some beautiful female betas. So that's something that's pretty cool in the last, I don't know, I feel like couple of years too, is how people start making female beta sorority tanks.
Yep.
So you can have multiple fish and multiple betas in one tank, and they're just pretty, super pretty. I think that's pretty neat.
I had one, but I had a little copper placat female that wasn't having it. I mean, I had like 12. It was a 40 breeder, you know, driftwood, hornwort. I had hornwort on the substrate, like trees, hornwort on top. I mean, I had it just, you know, sight breaks. I had a vase in there. I mean, it was ready. All the other girls were just, you know, enjoying themselves. You know, they chilling. This one copper female.
Did you get her as a baby boy? Maybe she wasn't a girl.
Hey, right, man. She wasn't having it, dude. She was not having it. We not doing this. This is not natural. I can't believe you. I tell you what, I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. I'm gonna run through here and terrorize everybody.
That's the thing about betas, man. They got personality. Like, you never know what you're gonna get with a beta. That's a question we get asked all the time still. I mean, you know, the new people in the hobby, they're like, can I put, you know, 3 betas in a big tank? And it's like, well, if you're doing females, sure, but if you're putting boys in there, it's probably a bad idea. But
I successfully for a minute had 2 males in a pond tote, only because one male was a double tail.
Yeah.
So he wasn't chasing nothing. He would try, you know, but and that black placat male that I had, he just was not just a, you know, he wasn't pardon my French, he wasn't an a-hole.
Right.
He could care less that other male was even in the tank, I guess, because he wasn't a threat, because he
probably looked like a whole different animal to him.
They did pretty good. They did pretty good for a long time together, because yes, the double tail was he was crunk. Oh, he was a bad boy. He just couldn't catch nobody.
Yeah, I've actually had pretty good success. I know a lot of people say don't keep betas in big tanks or big community tanks or whatever, but it depends on the beta, you know, and the tank. So I mean, I've kept 2 males, 2 Splendens together in a 75-gallon tank, but I had tons of plants in there, you know. And they were fine. Then one day I decided to add a paradise gourami. That all changed. The paradise gourami was trying to tear both of them up. So I was like, well, screw that idea. Got to watch them.
All it takes, man, is one change.
Yeah.
I used to raise I used to raise pit bulldogs just because
Yeah.
I liked them. Just because I liked them. I had 2 male puppies that grew up together. All the way to adulthood. Fine. No problem. And I went and bought this strawberry red nose female puppy.
Hmm.
She was there. They were all living together fine. She had her first heat. Those 2 males got into it. I got there before it turned into anything, but it was over. The friendship was over.
Yeah, you added a girl into the mix. That's all it takes.
Friendship was over forever. There was no,
Oh man.
no running loose in the pen together anymore.
Oh wow.
Done.
Broke it completely, huh? Man.
One
Girls.
slight disagreement. Yes.
Girls.
It
That's
was
funny.
done, man. That was crazy to me, though.
Wow.
But like they say, if there's a rule that's set in stone, it's probably a good idea to probably follow it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Most rules are around for a reason. It's because stuff has happened over time and people tend to accept it. But yeah.
Yeah. Because we'll say, hey, I told you it could be done. Man, look.
Right.
Then you just wait. And that one proper female shows up.
Right. I'm one of those guys, though, that I like to test the rule sometimes. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty logical person. And if there's something in the hobby that is an accepted rule and it doesn't make sense to me, then I'll test it, you know, kind of like the open tops thing. I mean, I had, you know, I'd always heard my entire life, don't keep hatchet fish in a tank with no top on it. But I figured out that if you keep, you know, a bunch of frog bit floating around in that water, even if there's open spots, the hatchet fish never jumped out. I mean, I kept hatchet fish for 2 years in an open top tank and never had one jump out. So, I mean, there's rules that can be broken, but you can't just do it willy nilly. You got to think it through, you know?
Right. Yeah. Nobody ever jumps out of my horn wart tanks. Like,
yeah,
it was always the tanks where it was like, hey, here you go. You got a lot of surface here.
Right. Oh, I'll tell you another good rule that I hate actually. So, you know, people are really weird about making sure your tank temperature is exactly perfect, you know, between 72 and 78 or whatever it is they like to keep it at. And I've had more problems from heaters blowing up and messing up tanks than I have from tanks being too cold and not having a heater at all. When I lived in Minnesota for a while, I found out the hard way that if you have a whole house water softener that uses salt pellets, you cannot use that water in a planted fish tank. The plants do not like it because of the salt. So I found that out the hard way. So what I had to start doing was using the water from the outside water spigot to do my water changes on my tank. And the problem was in Minnesota, it's like minus 35 degrees outside still. So I was putting in, you know, 40 and 50 degree water into my tank for a water change. And if people were freaking out, but you know what? The fish liked it. Man, I had so many rainbow fish breeding and that water would get down to 60 degrees. They loved it, you know. It's the water temp thing.
Swimming in the cold stream. Hey,
yeah. They would
this?
get right up in there and swim in it, and then they'd get all happy and start flashing their head things and trying to find the ladies.
What do
it's
we
funny.
have here? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hey, I do it on purpose. I'm always mentioning that stirring the pot. I'm always mentioning that I don't test water parameters. I top off. I may get one water change a month, and it's going to be 20 to 30%. But my fish flourish, you know. But I mean,
well, you also have your tanks full of hornwort too, so.
and I'm old school. I let the algae grow. I never have algae bloom, you know, like in the water level. I never have algae blooms. I mean, I never have any of those issues that people like, man, you know, this happened, my water turned green, and they'll look at a video, oh my God, the water's so clear. How, you know,
plants?
With just a sponge filter, you know, it's like.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I don't test the water, you know.
Yeah. I think once you've done it for a while, you get to a certain point where you don't have to test the water to know something's wrong. You just know.
I know smells, how my fish act, all of those things are triggers and automatic for me. If I get a slight hint of something, then I go to sticking my nose and everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Most definitely. Well, we didn't hit that hour mark, y'all. And I see a light over here that just came on. I don't know if that's my sign over there, but
Like, you're done, sir. You're done.
yeah, right. Well, we didn't hit that hour mark, man. Despite the technical difficulties, I think the technical difficulties hurt me more than it hurt the stream because they still heard you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, Patrick Hardy, you did that last night. We can't do one more hour, man.
One more hour. Go clean some fish tanks, Patrick.
Hey, man, thank you, Mr. Brown,
Thank you.
for coming through. Thank you very much, man. I think this was a very good idea. What you think? You know?
Oh, it was great, man. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I'll do it again one day if you want to.
Yeah, most definitely. If there's anybody, like I think I told you the message. If there's anybody you think that I mean, they're important in the fish hobby in any way, shape, or form. Because see, my thing is this: we got people in these chats that are everywhere in the United States. You know, when they see the replays and everything, somebody could reach out to you, you know, for this, that, or the other questions or whatever. If it's somebody that's making pleco huts, I mean, I want to put them on a Saturday stream, you know, because that's the hobby. You know,
I definitely have some names for you.
Yeah, they own LFSs. That's the hobby. You know,
sir.
I had transshippers on. I mean, it's so important. I mean, the good thing for me is on the YouTube side, I get to hear all of these diehard hobbyists complain about certain things. You know, man, my transshipper, this one company we use, they're doing this, they're doing that. You know, I want to be able to bring some people on Saturdays to remedy all of that.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
yeah, put them together, man.
Yes,
it's the way you fix stuff.
And that's what I'm reaching. That's what I'm reaching for, man. I mean, and we're off and rolling pretty good, I believe.
I like it.
Most definitely. Y'all, thank you for coming through, spending this time with us. You know, getting some insights, asking your questions. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place, God willing. Like I always say, take care of these fish. Love each other. Y'all be good. Peace.
Bye.